Welcome, 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 welcome to Open Phones, everyone. I'm Brenda Cunningham with Push Career Management and excited to be with you today. We're just making sure that everything is working properly. And so if you'll give us a moment, we're just making sure that our systems are working effectively. So here we go. Okay, now we're getting ready to go live. Sorry about that. Nicole, you edit the video. Okay. Welcome to Open Phones. This is Brenda Cunningham with Push Career Management. Of course, very excited to be back with you for another great conversation. I look forward to your questions, whether they be with regards to job search or quest for promotion. Today's topic is rather on the serious side, and so feel free, right? This is a safe place to ask your questions and not receive any judgment, but always solutions in return for your questions. And so please be invited to be welcome to ask your questions, and I look forward to those throughout our conversation today. And so our topic, for the record, is about depression. And we have seen, I've talked about depression quite a bit here on Open Phones, but this is a topic that we can't just mention it once and never come back to it again. And so we're calling this Job Search Depression Revisited. And so we're just revisiting the conversation because depression isn't magic, and we don't snap our fingers and it magically goes away. When you're dealing with it, sometimes it stays with you for hours, sometimes days, weeks, months, and even years. And so we would be remiss to think that one and done is absolutely okay. So let's press into some of the language around depression. You might have either said it yourself, or you may have heard someone that you're close to say things like, I'm in a funk. I'm just not feeling it. Whatever language that they're using, it can be present for so many different reasons. And it's not just sadness. It can come from needing a vacation, but you're considered an essential worker and it's a pandemic and you're worried about the state of your job, and so you can't get away, and so the depression starts to creep up. It can creep up from unforgiveness, okay, from just dealing with the weight of unforgiveness in a completely non-work related relationship, right? It can be triggered from stress, from anger, from what we call hope deferred, or longer than expected waiting for something. And so it's especially, let's think about if you've been in a job search for 6 months, a year and a half, you might start to think, oh, this is never going to happen for me. Nobody wants me. And so enter the depression. And this is what's happening for a lot of people. Now, I want to give you some clues, again, some things to watch out for. Now, I've been there on the job search side, in the job search depression after my own layoff many years ago. But I've also battled depression just from pure fatigue, unforgiveness, guilt, shame, all of those things. They have crept up. And they don't discriminate, guys. You can be the healthiest, mental person, and everything is sunshine and roses, and everybody always thinks that you've just got everything all together, and you are secretly depressed or overtly depressed. And so it can look like this. Here's a couple of examples to, again, watch out for. One is really just kind of looking busy or saying that you're busy, but you're not actually accomplishing anything. You're sitting at your desk all day or sitting at your kitchen table, like looking at the work, but you can't actually bring yourself to do it, right? And so what is happening more often than not is you're doing things like Facebook scrolling, social media surfing, sitting on your couch, laying on your couch, watching, consuming just lots and lots and lots and lots of TV. Look, there's nothing wrong with a good occasional binge watch, but we're talking about an overconsumption, a super saturation of television, Netflix, and this sort of thing. We're talking about that's all you can bring yourself to do all of the time. And then when you do sit and you do try to make something happen, you feel this sense of overwhelm, like you just don't have a plan at all. You have no idea what to do, how to do it. And the overwhelm itself leads to inactivity, right? You have this really unfocused mind. There may be physical sickness in your body. You might find yourself lashing out at other people. And just plain, forget about the concept of networking, right? It's just not something that you can remotely bring yourself to do. And so, wow, all of these things, and I'm sure this is not an exhaustive list. These are just the things that come to my semi-creative mind. And so certainly some of these things have applied to me during my own seasons of depression. And yes, guys, it can come and go in waves. We can listen to the little devil in our ear. We can listen to that. We can listen to that little devil, that little pesky rodent, or we can listen to the angel in this one that's speaking the truth to us, that's telling us that we can do it, to be encouraged. Or we can listen again to this one that says we're nothing, we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not this, we're not that. And so we can spend our time and be consumed by these messages, or we can embrace the truth over here. Now, what can you do? What should you do? What do you do if you're battling depression? Maybe the most that you've been able to do is bring yourself to this video and watch it, and like you're hoping for some answers. Well, here we go. Couple of things that you can do, and I want to share with you, is just do what you can. If all that you can muster is like 2 hours a day to conduct your job search, or 1 hour a day, then go hard for that 1 hour. Go hard for that 2 hours. It's okay. I just mentioned to another person this past week, right? Your job search doesn't need to look like anybody else's. Who said? Who said that we all had to do these 40-hour work week job search is my full-time job situation? Who said that? And so sometimes you can't bring yourself to really go hard and to be focused for 8 hours a day. And so if you have a sweet spot, and that sweet spot is 2 hours or 3 hours a day, then just simply go hard during that time. And you can't be concerned with what other people are doing. They are none of your business. They are none of your business. And let's see here. Now for that 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour, whatever that amount, that chunk of time is, you do need to have a plan. Just going in and saying, okay, I'm going to go hard for 2 hours. You're going to sit down at your system, and then you're going to say to yourself, well, what do I do? What do I do while I'm sitting here for this hour or 2 hours or 3 hours? I'm trying to be focused. I'm trying to go hard. What do I do? So you tap into your resources. Perhaps this is a resource for you. Perhaps it isn't. Perhaps you follow other organizations like career connectors, and you plug in and you just establish some good patterns. So whether that's spending some time on LinkedIn, applying for a job, following up on a job, reaching out to somebody that you already have a good relationship with, because again, maybe networking is something that's really difficult for you right now. And so go for the low-hanging fruit, go for the easy answers. And this is okay. You won't be here forever. Now, if you cannot bring yourself to do any form of, formal networking, then at the very least, one of the things that I would suggest for you is that you saturate yourself with good news. And so if you're watching a lot of like dramas and murder shows and things of this nature, think about switching gears and think about switching what you're consuming. What are you watching? What are you allowing in? What are you reading? What are you paying attention to? If all you're doing is watching the news all day, it's just no wonder everybody, I think, would be absolutely depressed if that were the case. And so be mindful of what you're watching, what you're allowing in, because it does make a difference. It might not seem like it at the time, but trust and believe these things are kind of compounding in your mind, and they are building. Just like you might think 25 cents, that's no big deal, it's just a quarter. But if you start saving a quarter every day, it adds up to quite a lot of money. And so please be mindful of just those little things, how they can creep in and start to settle into your mind. But I also want you to, as you're incorporating more encouraging and positive, good news, steer clear of stress-inducing drama, right? And so if there are relatives that just kind of keep up with the drama, they kind of keep up with the trouble, and they're just always trying to get you into that, into those cycles with them, step out, say, hey, you know what? I need a little bit of space right now, or I'm in a not so great season. I'm just gonna give me a little time and I'll check back in with you in a couple weeks, whatever that looks like, because we're so concerned about their feelings and we're completely forgetting about ourselves. And we are not going to do them any good if we are in the thick of depression. So we need to understand that. Now, one thing I want you to understand is that this process is not something that, again, it's magic. And so thinking that it's something that you can just kind of snap out of, it can be a mistake. This process of digging yourself out of the trenches of depression can take time. So don't go rushing to call yourself a failure if a day or two or a week or two goes by and you're not out of it yet. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It just could possibly mean that you were so deep into it that it's going to take a little bit longer just to get back to zero. That's truth. And I just want to remind you guys that it's okay to take the time that we need. I said earlier in the year that last December, I was just really too far gone. And I allowed myself to get in such a place of deficit that I set out to take 30 days off, and I ended up taking about 40 days off, and coming back, I still wasn't fully ready. And so, yeah, it's one of those things. Thank you for the comment, Lauren. Appreciate you being here. You say, yes, I have discovered to practice the art of detachment with some relatives. Isn't that the truth? Because sometimes they can be the worst, right? You love your family. We all love our families, and sometimes they unknowingly can really pull us into the trenches even further. So thank you for the comment. Appreciate that. But it is also in the midst of a job search, in the midst of a pandemic. So this is a wheel inside of a wheel inside of a wheel. It's okay to consider alternate paths, right? It is okay. If you've been in, customer service your whole career, and you find that not a lot of employers in the midst of a pandemic are offering customer service positions, it's okay to pursue something maybe related tangentially, like sales perhaps. And so It's okay to make strategic pivots in your career. Yes, Lauren, just with the negative energy to drag you down, good Lord. And sometimes they just really don't have an understanding that what they're doing is affecting you. But you, again, can take the wheel, take control, and say, you know, this work that I've been doing my whole life, while I'm very much attached to it, while I very much enjoy it, while it's the right space for me, if the opportunities don't exist right now, and we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, and especially if you're coming close to running out of money and you've got financial strain on top of everything else, a strategic career pivot can sometimes be the right solution. Now, do the best you can to stay on course for the whole of your career and not just kind of make these not very well thought through decisions. But if it's in some way relates back to the whole entirety of your career, go for it. Think about pivoting, and it's okay. It's okay. It is okay to pivot. But finally, just give yourselves grace. I say it all the time, and I'm going to say it again. Give yourselves grace. Give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling. When I was going through mine, everybody was, it'll be fine. No, it's not fine. It wasn't fine, and I needed validation. And so I'm validating you. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, but I encourage you not to stay there. So continue to consume that positivity as much as you can. Be mindful of what you're allowing into your mind, because those things they're building up. The residue of those little things are building up over time. You say, or to cope with rejection from interviews. Yeah, wondering what you did wrong. Absolutely. These are perfect things that, again, we feel like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't that interview go as well? And we never stop to think. It's not that you did anything wrong, but perhaps they found that you weren't going to be a good fit. You couldn't have possibly done anything. There was nothing that you could have done to change their decision outside of completely transforming yourself. And that's never a good plan. And so you say, with faith, I learned it could be protection to steer me to the best job. Absolutely. I say it all the time, like, if people want to discriminate against you, or if they want to say, you're too old, or you're Black, or you're a woman, or you're this, or you're that, and you want to discriminate against me because of something that I have no control over, good riddance. I thank you for sparing me a career or a job of misery. Thank you for sparing me from that. And so I think that you are spot on, Lauren, and I'm so glad that you're paying attention to those more positive cues, right? Because you can look at it like, oh, woe is me, another rejection. Or you could look at it like, thank you, Lord. Thank you for steering me away from something that was not meant for me in the first place. And so that is really, really good. Now, I have shared a resource through our Facebook page, through our LinkedIn community, and when this video gets reposted to YouTube, I'm going to share the resource over there as well. And the resource is a job seeker prayer. And it's just one of those things that sometimes, if you cannot utter the words, if you cannot find any words to say, sometimes you find it difficult to even talk to God. And so when you don't have the words and you're not feeling it, and you don't want to, go through all those religious things, just rest on the words that I received directly from God himself. And so these are not my words. This is all credit to God. And so please, please, please immerse yourself into that thing. Say it as often as you need to, because while it's okay for a season to deal with depression, I don't want you to be in the habit of staying there long term. Now, chemically, we're not talking about chemical clinical depression. We're not talking about that. That may require some degree of medication. We're talking about these kinds of depressions that really stem from a longer than expected job search. And so that's our focus for today. And I hope that today's message has helped you. All in all, you want to, sometimes we just need validation, and that's okay. We're here, we're in this together, and we're going to get through it together. But the final word for today is that it is super, super, super important for you to reclaim balance, get back to zero before you even attempt to network and conduct this job search, because that deficit can leave you feeling like you can't do anything. And so I hope that this revisiting of the depression conversation has been useful to you. Thank you to Lauren for being here live with us and for her questions and comments. Thank you to our intern team, Denisha and Nicole. And we are going to see you again next week. And until then, I just encourage you. Check out that job search prayer and also keep pushing. Bye-bye, everyone.